is we call the sampling methods. Okay. Can you see the screen that is being presented? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not sure if you are
Dito kasi gawin mo. Ayan ang laguman. Dito kasi gawin mo. Wata! Isa, magubok ko. Puti, ay, sunod ka pa ako. Man na. Kadudong na to. Ikaw. Isa ba? Kasi ko ang
okay, hello? Sorry. Okay. So pardon me. Okay, wait lang. So basically, can you hear me na? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So sampling, again, no, it's trying to get representative from populations. No? Usually, when in surveys, samples can mean, of course, the representative of the population. But when you go to experiments, you also call them samples. No? The subjects are also called samples here. Okay. So I'm focusing now on how do we get samples from populations. Again, samples from populations. That's what we're trying to get, no? Samples from populations. Because this is where sampling gets technical, no? Okay. Sige. So here we go. When when you get samples from populations, there are two, there are two, should we say, ways or general methods of getting samples from populations. We have the probability and we have the non-probability sampling. So hopefully by the end of the discussion on sampling methods, you'll be able to distinguish which or how do they differ. What are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of the two? Let's begin on the probability sampling. So, by definition, non-probability sampling talks about a non-zero chance. Non-zero. So, in simple English, not zero. So, your chance is not zero. So, what do you mean by that? Okay. So, we'll go to it for each of the sampling methods. And let's try to revisit what does it mean when you say non-zero chance. Okay? So that's what we're gonna do. What does it mean when you say non-zero chance? So let's begin. So I have here the four basic sampling methods. Four siya because the multi-stage is this is the from the word multi-stage. There are several stages, no? So first level sampling, second level sampling. Okay? So that's what it means by multi-stage. Agi siya several stages of sampling. So let's be familiar with the four. So the first one is simply what we call the simple random sampling. Okay. So the simple random sampling, okay, if you can take a look. Okay, let me see if I can still zoom out. Okay, so simple random sampling. What have you noticed? Okay, for a while. Before we proceed, the probability sampling, before or one essential component, this should not be absent when you do probability sampling, and we call this sampling frame. So the probability sampling will always have a sampling frame. Okay, sampling frame is just the jargon of a list. Can you see? Like, for example, simple random sampling. What do you see? So, can you see? Do you see the sampling frame? So, what is the sampling frame? What do we call the sampling frame again? It is the
List.
Okay. So, it's the list. So, don't forget the list. So, now, you cannot do probability sampling without a sampling frame. If you say your sampling wala kay lista, then you cannot do proper sampling frame. You cannot do proper probability sampling. Okay? Let me see. Alright. Necessary gina siya. So from the simple random sampling, the very first one, because that's a very simple, okay? Alright. What have you noticed? Based on the picture, what have you noticed? How did simple random sampling? Yun sa siya. How is it done? Try to look at the picture.
Randomly, sir.
With no particular
Order.
or no particular, should we say, like reference. Okay. Now, the downside of the simple random sampling is this. When people say simple random sampling, it's very easy to claim that you did simple random sampling. But here's the but. How random is random? Okay. So, like for example, in the research, you say simple random sampling, but in essence, or the truth is, you just selected your friends, or you just selected people whom you know. So that's the problem. You cannot fully, how random is random. That's the problem. So that's why simple random sampling is very vague, so to speak, because it's very easy to claim that you did this, but in reality, you did not. No? So selection of people whom you know and selection of acquaintances does not equate to a probability sampling. Do you follow? Because the tendency is these people that you have, these people that you are, familiar with, are not representative of the population. That's the downside. Because your friends may not reflect the sentiment of the study or the population study that you are targeting. That's the issue. So usually, what I advise is researchers should have some sort of randomization technique. Okay? You understand what is randomization technique? Meaning you have to have some sort of method to randomize whom you will choose. No? To choose the respondents really randomly, to the purest sense of the word. So one way of doing simple random sampling is it can be tiresome, but it is actually good. But we call this the snowball method. So not a snowball. Sorry. What you call this ball? Fishbowl. Sorry, fishbowl. Are you familiar with a fishbowl? We call it. It's also called the lottery method. So let's say I want to get a random sample of students from this class, and let's say we are in the classroom, and I have my fishbowl with me with, let's say you are around, let's say almost 90, no? So I have 90 sheets of paper, and I will only get 10. 10 of the 10 strips of paper will be in the bowl, and whoever gets the paper that has a star or something will be my sample. Okay. So by that method, I am confident that the people who got the stars were randomly selected. That's really a simple random sampling, because the one who chose the 10 is fate or destiny or whatever you call it, or chance. It's really by chance that they were selected. Okay? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so there. Another one is using Excel. No? You can actually use Excel to randomly select respondents. Now, would you like to know how you can randomly select Excel? For me, this is the fastest. This is the most practical, okay? Diba? When you use lottery, you get the fishbowl container, and you have to get pieces of paper. And what if 100 plus papers? It's very not, it's really not ideal. It's tedious pa rin. So, okay. Would you like to know how to do it in Excel? So I will announce it. I will open Excel. So if you can see in the PowerPoint, diba, what? Okay, wait lang. There are numbers, no, for each respondent. Did you see it? Did you see it, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There are numbers, no, sa list. So what I usually do is, or in Excel, you can do something like this. You can put the number. So I'll put here number 1 to 3 up to 48. So assuming that is 48 there. So I have 48 people on my list. I only want to get, let's say, 15 or let's say 20 lang. Now, here's the secret. Here's the trick. In Excel, you can actually create a random number, right? So in Excel, you can type in the code rand, open close parentheses, there. So it generates a random number. I double tap on that one. So if you just saw what I did here, if you can see the somewhat a dot, no, or a square, something like this one here. So when you double click on that, it's gonna go right into the 48th. No? Now, what I usually what you can do now is data, then filter, you know. Then I will just put here smallest to largest. Right? So the first 15, 1, 2, 3, 15. All right. So these people, so respondents 29, 45, 12, 32, 16, 19, 42, 22. These people will form, these 15 people will be my samples, no, based on the list. So sino ba sila? 29, si Giles D, no? Then 45, it's Jacques B. Then 12, sino tong 12? Dennis G, or something like that. Did you follow? Did you get that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is very simple, no? Compared to the lottery method. Okay. So, diba? It's easy. Okay. So that's for random sampling. So let's proceed to the next one. It is still random sampling, but with a specific difference. Okay. So here we are, we call this the systematic sampling. So for the systematic sampling, can you see how this was done by just looking at the picture? Sige daw, Ben. Can you tell how this was done? Sige, can you see?
By sir.
Bayon sa tadahan.
Interval, there is
Okay, very good. So here, ang inyong nakita na sampling is, the interval is by 20s, no? So 8, then plus 20, 28, then plus another 20, 48. So from the word systematic, from the word system, there's a system, or there's an interval. Okay? So it's up to you, no? What interval would you like? 5th, 10th, 20th, 15th, 20th, or 2, 4, 6, whatever. It's up to you. The good thing about systematic sampling is that it's really by chance, no? So it's not your fault, or you being the 5th or 10th or 15th in the list has nothing to do with personal preference. So you are free from bias. So that's the good thing, no? That separates the systematic sampling from the simple random sampling. So again, the clue is chance. No? So the chance is, the reason why you're selected is because of chance. Nagkataon, timing. You are the 10th, you are the 5th or the 10th, whatever. So that's it. Now, for the next sampling method, we have this one, the stratified random sampling. So the stratified random sampling, so your clue here is the stratified. So when you say stratified, so actually stratified or strata is like a grouping. So a grouping, what do you call this? You have in your population, usually the first thing you need to do is, are there significant groups? Is there a significant major grouping of the population? So we have here like an example in population in America. So you have Caucasians, you have African Americans, and Hispanic Americans, or the Latinos, or from Hispanic backgrounds. So usually for surveys, you need to get representatives from these major groups, because again, Caucasians have very different demographics, with different beliefs, different attitudes compared to African Americans and of course others. So the thing here is, for certified sampling to be used, there must be a very significant grouping, that is present in the population. Another good example for this is kaning high school or junior high school. So in the junior high school population of, let's say, Southwestern, what are the major stratas that you can identify from that? What are the major groups of junior high school of a junior high school population? Can you guess or can you tell?
Strand, sir.
Strand, that's senior high. Sige, junior high muna tayo. Junior high.
Grade level, sir.
Correct. So the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, blah, blah, blah. Those are your strata. So when you do a survey for junior high school students, dili pwede na all from fourth years or all from third years. There must be an equal representation or proportionate. Okay, I would like to call it proportionate. When you say proportionate, the biggest number of the strata should have higher proportions in the sample. I'll explain that to you later. So let's say you have a sample and you have this proportion of first year, second year, third year, fourth year. The sample size should also be proportionate to the year levels. I will tackle more on that when we go to the sample size computation. So the last one is the cluster sampling. So this is the cluster sampling is grouping sampling. More gyapon siya stratified, but it's more of locations, no? It's more of bundles, no? Or lumps or clumps of points, no? So in this example, cluster sampling was done for a community survey. So here, the consideration was not really the number of people, but households. So this group of houses here will be the sample for section 1. Section 2, wala siya gipili. Then section 5. So from the word cluster, meaning kanang sitawag ini kanang where data points gather, no? So from there, no? So cluster sampling na siya. So this is good, no? Especially when in the community there's no specific number, because even if you have a population of the area, it's not always fixed because it changes, no? So let's say for example, somebody goes abroad or namatay or transfer of puyo. So the number will not really be fixed. So it will not really be fixed yun. Mag-usap yun siya. So one way of addressing the issue is na lang, no? House map or location map of the barangay or of the sitio. No? So based on the map, you cluster your locations and target the houses from the clusters. So sir, kinsa may mo pili? Kamo gid na, no? The researchers are the ones who determines which groups. However, nalang gyud na yung general consideration, mas maayo gyud na naakay, dili ka mag-focus lang sa usa ka location in the cluster. So kung mahimo naakay dool sa sapa or dool sa dan or inana, no? naakay variation sa imong clusters. Mas maayo siya. Okay? So that's cluster sampling. Now, the multi-stage sampling, the one that you saw earlier, is kanisha. From the word multi-stage, meaning these four can be used, or two or three of these sampling techniques can be used together. So, pwede man na from, let's say, you conducted stratified, no? Then from the stratified, you identify per year level, you did some sort of simple random sampling. Igamit ka katong Excel, no? So kinsa tong ipili mo, imong i-target sa first year, i-target mo sa second year, etc. So that is an example of multi-stage, meaning the combination of two sampling methods in one research. Okay, so that's it. So before we move on to the non-probability sampling, I just want to clarify. Can you now or explain why this is called a what does it mean for non-zero chance? Can you now parang have an idea of what it means for non-zero chance? Anybody? Or sa Bisaya, the chance is not zero. See, can you somehow tell me what you mean? What does it mean? The chance is not zero. Sige. Probability sampling. Anybody? Okay. Hello. Any thoughts? Guesses? Don't be shy. Hello. Okay. Someone answered in the chat. Okay, let's see what was the answer in the chat. Okay, wala. What did I hear? Sige, Mary Joy Forces. Sige, dai.
I guess, sir, it's not zero chance. It means that there is a possibility.
Okay, a possibility of, sige, you're almost there?
A possibility nga ma-pick gihapon, sir.
Okay, so na chance na mapilian ka, no? So, sana all mapilian. Okay, so anyway. So, anybody, as long as you are in the, unsa man? What is that something na naagid sa probability sampling? You can be chosen as long as you are in the blank sample frame. Very good. What's the other term for sampling frame?
A list, sir. Apil ka sa list of
Alright. Potential respondents. Okay. So very good. Now, sige. Okay. Alright. So, as long as you're in the list, you have the chance to be chosen. So that's why it's called non-zero chance. Okay. So that's it for the probability sampling. So now we move on to the non-probability sampling, and probably by since you know naman what it means by probability, you have an idea on what it means for non-probability. So si non-probability, zero chance, naagi zero chance. So here, I will show to you, based on the illustration, how it's done. So, let's begin. Let's begin with convenience. So, din ako mag-discuss kung saan siya. Can you tell me what is confidence sampling? Convenience sampling. Can you tell based on the illustration? Okay. Sige be. What can you tell me based on the illustration? Come on, don't be shy. Raise hand. Sige, if you... Come on. Okay. So, oops. Sige, I see two people. Sige, start with Zaira, then Jemima after. Sige. Go, Jemima. Sige. What can you say about convenience?
These are picked, sir, by the researchers who are easiest to access, sir.
I like the term. Very easy to access. Okay. So, the one who raised her hand after Jemima was Kinsato. Sige, you will be the next. You'll be the next one to see or to answer the next one. So, from that, that's actually the correct, that's actually a very correct answer. Convenience sampling is usually done for when example, market survey or customer satisfaction survey of McDonald's or Jollibee or Starbucks, whatever. When you want, so you have to really get people who are in the restaurant because, pungutan ako, does Jollibee, McDonald's, or Starbucks have a list of customers? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, that's impossible because anybody can be a customer. So in order for you to get data, you have to go to the place where the ones who are there. So the ones who are there are the easiest to access. So they are the ones pinagikuha. So convenience sampling na sila. So ang pinaka easy to access. So usually usually magamit ang convenience sampling. Sige, voluntary response sampling. So what does it mean? Sige be? Okay, there's a hand or there's a virtual hand. Let's see. There's another one. Si Zaira. Sige, Zaira. Go. What can you say?
Kuan siya, sir. Dili na ko siya ma-explain well, pero mag-give na lang ng example. Kuan siya, sir. Same sa mga clinicians, mga 5th year o 6th year na mga dentistry kay mangita sila ng mga people na mo-volunteer para if na ganan sila na magpaibot og ngipon.
Okay.
So inga na ilahang ko answer.
Correct. So very easy naman sa to identify voluntary from the word volunteer. So the samples will be part of the research per se are people who willingly participated. Sila talaga yung pumunta sa researcher. Sila talaga yung nag-submit sa selves nila to be part of it. So that's what we call voluntary response sample. So very easy na. Then here, purposive sampling, medyo may konting difficulty sa purposive sampling. But anybody would like to try and share what they see from the picture? Okay, hello? There you go. Come on. Okay, anybody? Hello? Sige. There's a hand. See? Sino yan? Wala sa screen. Ay, sorry. Wala sa screen. Sige, here. Kani. Okay na? Sige, Rickson, go. What do you see as a purposive?
Sir, for me, sir, guy, selected siya, sir, but
Okay.
kalahian lang siya, sir. Example, kami mga kaning about research is about is dental something dental chuchu. So they will pick someone who is a dental student lang jud sir nga naay who is kanang bitang knowledgeable about that sponsor, about that research topic.
Very good. You actually mentioned critical points, no? Sige. So, selected, but not just simple selection. So, gipili gihapon pero naay
Ay uniqueness,
okay. Sige, ano pa?
purpose, sir.
Alright, purpose. Okay, sige. So, let's mention the key terms. Uniqueness, special. No? So, these are key terms in the purposive sampling. Gipili ang mga respondents or ang mga people because of their special or unique characteristics. Okay? That's what we call purposive. Now, it's not I would just like to be ano lang, no, kind of honest lang. Usually man good people when they see na naay murag description ang mga respondents ba as like dapat in ani, dapat in ana, you have to look into unsa na ilahang, you have to look into whether kanang inyong gihatag na different descriptions is really special. Like for example, my research na ingon, the respondents are or should be 18 years old above. Is that a special characteristic? What do you think? No, it's not, no. And isa pa man, must be able to read and write. Is that a special characteristic? Yes or no?
Yes sir.
Special characteristic ng can read and write?
No.
No, it's not, no, because daghan na. So, what you're doing is actually a simple, ano lang, no, defining of the population. You're not, if it doesn't automatically mean na you did that or you have that, purposive na siya. Purposive samplings is like this. Must have experienced blah blah blah. Must have been in the industry for 2 to 5 years. You understand? Those are considered or must be or a graduate of neuro blah blah blah. Special.
Qualified, sir.
Manana, no? Mga, or must have been in the, you know, or subjected to this blah 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 for around 10, at least for 30 years, 20 years, no? So mga unique bitaw kaayo na dili jud na siya nimo maingon na naa sa tanan or kadaghanan. So okay, that's purposive sampling, all right? So again, unique and special characteristics. Now, usually purposive sampling is not suggested when you do surveys, because surveys should reflect the population and you don't want people who have unique points of view to reflect the population. So, kind of na as wide as you can and as generic as you can mo ng survey. Purposive, no, ari na siya sa mga case study, ari na siya sa mga interview, etc. etc. Mga interesting cases, mga interesting individuals, mga you get what I'm trying to say. So, usually qualitative research na siya ma-apply ng purposive sampling. So that's it. So we move on to the last, and I think it's very sabotable, but anybody would like to share or state what they see. See Charlene.
Kuan na siya, sir. At take in which some participants are found in the population, and then they lead the researcher to other participants in the population.
All right, correct. That's a very technical explanation, but that's very correct. So you can simplify it by calling it referral. You understand what is referral?
Yes, sir.
No? So this is actually common for researches whose samples are sensitive. Do you understand what I mean by sensitive populations? So these are populations that are not, should we say, really gonna be found out in the open, or diba, there's a reason why nag-refer ka because dili kay sila na common na makita. Usually you only know of one or two, then this one or two. Okay? So, sitaw ka na. Usually you know one or two, then those one or two, or those two that you know knows another one, so you get a four, and those others, those two that you have known knows other one or two or three, so magkadaghan, so referral. Snowball sample is actually the last resort if you have no idea where to get your samples or where to get your respondents. Okay? Yes, there's a question?
Anong mga populations nga difficult to reach, sir?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, difficult to reach, and not just difficult to reach. Lisod pangitaon. Okay. So there you go, no? So can you now see, or can you now parang have an idea what it means for zero chance? Sige, anybody? Saman, what do you think? Can you share what you have realized sa non-probability and why is it say zero chance? Meaning your chance is? Sige, anybody? So zero chance ka na. Zero chance of being selected. What does it mean? Hello? Sige. Meaning, what does it mean? Kung zero chance. Meaning the chance of you getting selected can be sama. Your chances of getting selected can be
Zero.
Can be zero. Yes. Can you now tell why zero yung chance? Sige, convenience sample. Anong zero chance? Anong na may kuha na zero chance?
Hindi ka mapilian.
Or kung wala ka sa? Or kung
list.
or this a list. Kung dili ka? Convenience. Sorry. Para siya, lain siya pa na ay, di ka pilion, kaya di ka convenient. Uy. Na siya double meaning. Anyway.
Bias.
Yeah, like, sige, di ba, kung nag-survey sa Starbucks, niya, wala ka sa Starbucks, so, meaning, di ka ma-appeal, kaya wala ka dito. So, zero chance. Yan, sa voluntary response, so, di ka mapilian kung di ka mo,
Dili mo volunteer.
right. So, purposive, di ka mapilian kung dili ka, kung wala ka, kung di ka special, char, or di ka unique. Anyway, and snowball, in what way makadi mapilian? Kung di ka, paref.
Tagiran, sir.
Di ba? So, hindi ka kung layo ka sluwag or whatever. But you get what I'm trying to say. Do you understand why why it says zero chance? No? Because unlike probability sampling, this non-probability sampling methods does not need a list. And most often than not, there are several kinds of populations that has no list. That has no, isa kang barangay, wala list sa ilang mga constituents. Usually, voters list ra na. And the voters list is not even a guarantee that that person is living in the area anymore. No? Makagibaw ng abroad na or makagibaw na speakas ng lungsod, pero mauli ra og eleksyon. No? So, that's the drill. No? You cannot really say that. There are only certain limited number of populations that has really a list. So usually schools, companies, employees, undergo kag records or submit kag records, etc. Alright, now we go to the sample size computation. This is the last hour. This is the last lesson for the night. Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. This is not really difficult, but I just want you to be familiar with the computation. So I have here a Facebook video. So kindly look into that one lang. This is the video of how it's computed. So just to give you a disclaimer, this sample size methodology that I am presenting to you is called the Craig C. Morgan. So the Craig C. Morgan is we prefer Craig C. Morgan because it really has a documentation. It really has a published paper on how it's done and the statistics and the principles behind it. No, which is we no longer consider it's Sloven's formula. If you've heard of Sloven's, have you heard of the word Sloven's formula way back in your research subjects and the previous whatever? Have you heard of that Sloven's formula? Have you heard or no?
Yes.
So we do not recommend Sloven's formula because there's no proper documentation of the process or of the kind of technical soundness. No, so we prefer the Craig C. Morgan for known populations. Again, known populations. So usually Craig C. Morgan is only limited to populations that really have a definite number, meaning finite number. So kung dili finite yung population, you have to use another one. So usually, daghan klaseng sample size computation depende sa sampling. So nice sampling for the cluster sampling na asay sample size computation, but I will not go into that late. I will not go much into that. But usually, Craig C. Morgan ang ako ipakita kay mo ani ang pinaka-common na usually magamit. So there's the video. No? There's the video that I said that is in the PowerPoint. You can read through that. And there's actually a site, no? We call this the Rausoft sample size calculator. This is actually reliable. It's really following the Craig C. Morgan formula. Di na ako ipakita ang video. I'll just show you the formula. It is explained properly here. Let's get to the formula lang. So there. Explain ang parts. So let's go back a little. Okay. So the good thing about the Craig C. Morgan formula is it's not really difficult. Kani siyang mga numbers, the letters that you see here, constants na sila kasagaran. The only thing that you need to change in this equation is the capital N. The capital N is the total number or the population, and the rest is fixed. The rest is what you call this standard or constant na. So if we move forward with that, so if you can see the numbers, let's just see the numbers. So they will just change it. So okay, so here. So the chi-squared, the x-squared there is constant, the proportion is constant, the error is constant. The only thing you need to change is only the n. So dali na lang dyan kaayo. So here 20,000, and according to the form result, it's 377. Round off to the whole number. Okay? So round off to the whole number ta. Now, let's see if sakto ba ni ang formula na nasa to ang video from the side or from the calculator. So 20,000, okay, tanawa, how much is the pila ka samples sa tong kwaon? It's pila, can you see?
20,000.
Sige, pila ang sample size? What's the sample size?
20,000.
No, that's the population, madam. Sample size. Pila tanan? So 20,000.
300.
Okay. So out of the 20,000, we will only need to get 327. According to our video, it's 377. So round off to the whole number because, and why do you think na round off to the whole number? So sige daw, pangita daw og tao na 0.88. Where can you get a person that's 0.88 of a person? Or 0.5. So asa makamangita na? Okay? Okay? So, kung gina, whole number gina. No? So, you round off gina. Okay, you cannot find a 0.5 person. Sama na siya, half a person. Wala no. Anyway, you understand why it has to be a whole number? Okay. Klaro to?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So, you can use this side, no? But at least you have to know the computation, no? So, in the P1, there are situations, no, that given this, given that, compute for the population, compute for sample size. So, simple, right, no? So, what else? Sampling, sample size computation. Alright, sige. There we go. Alright. Questions? Third chan. No possibility. Alright. Klaro na to? Understandable naman siguro. Okay. So, tomorrow, we will still have a class. And we will touch on, data visualization. And this is actually also a very interesting topic. How do we visualize data? So it's more of the graphs. I'll show you familiar graphs. I'll show you graphs that are not so familiar. Sige. So, ano siya. And I will also siguro try to show you how it's done in Excel. Maybe after the P1 exam na lang, I will have this as a task na lang. Hindi na ko siya i-apply. I-apply na ko sa P1 ang concepts but not the graphs creation thingy. Kaya dili kay siya konsumo oras kay medyo workshop type man gud siya. So, lang siguro. So, sa Friday, that's our P1 exam, I will announce lang, asa ta na room. Because I will have to check pa with Doc Villarmino asa na room pwede. You will you will take the exam again. You will take the exam by your schedule. So, kay ang 7 to 9 na ay prior class. Na ay prior class sa 5, so di pwede. So, 5 to 7 will have their own schedule. But most probably it will be the same room. So that shifting lang. So, once mahuman ang 5 to 7, mo follow dayon ang 7 to 9. So, if you can come earlier so that you will not, go 9 o'clock. So, I plan to have the exam only for an hour, no? Kamay raman ang exam, di man kayo siya daghan. Wala pa may computations kaayo. Pinagamay ra kay sample size raman ang naanato diri ron. So, I would suggest you bring your calculator lang. your scientific calculator siguro lang for the sample size computation mo lang. Yeah, yung 1 hour lang na siya because the exam is not really, hindi rin ako siya task on kaya it's an evening. Then, mo follow siguro lang ang 7 to 9, whoever is ganahan na magsugod. So, lang. Basta 1 hour lang exam. And I'm not sure if ilabang ibuwag ang rooms to accommodate the spacing. But anyway, I'll announce it to you na lang by Thursday siguro, pinaka-latest. Because I will have to consult pa with Doc Wilhelmine. Sige. So, asa pa man. So, we're almost one. Okay, sige. So, 2 more topics na lang before the P1 exam. Okay, I plan to have the bulk of the stat lessons in the P2 because muna siya katong panagid the computational part na gid sa statistics. Sige. Alright, so that be all na lang siguro for tonight unless there are some questions or clarifications. Sige, anybody questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Going once, going twice. None? Okay, closed. So, that being said, thank you very much everyone for your time today. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same meeting link, and enjoy the rest of your night. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sige.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your dinner sa mga wala pa naka-dinner.
Thank you, sir.